It's a bit of a lesson in terms of materialism, especially looking as when I got older and acquired more things. Going down to Michigan, I definitely had to leave things behind. I could take a suitcase and a carry-on with me, and that was hard. I repacked and packed and repacked, and that was kind of my first taste of the anxiety of acquiring things. And I think the more you end up acquiring, the harder it is to leave it behind, especially if you get attached to it.
Welcome again to Life Transitions. Today we have Basil Williams, my husband, here with us. And he likes to call himself a math evangelist. He is a high school teacher and he teaches math. But today we're focusing more on the transition of movement. So, sometimes moving can be such a hard thing for many individuals. And he's going to tell us his sort of take on, moving from a child and moving as an adult and what that might be like.
Yes. Okay. So I've moved a few times, or several times, depending on how you want to look at it. I was born in Alberta, so I moved from Alberta to Ontario when I was very young. I don't remember that much. I moved from Ontario back to Alberta, and then I moved from Alberta to Michigan for school, and then from Michigan not back to Alberta, but back to Canada and to Winnipeg and Manitoba, and then I went to California for a year, and then I moved to British Columbia, and I'm now in Vancouver, or more specifically, New Westminster. So I've had a few moves.
Yes, like uprooting almost every time and having to rebuild yourself, new friendships, I'm sure, leaving things behind.
Yes, but I would say that Facebook makes it easier. So definitely now. Obviously, Facebook didn't exist when I was younger, and probably it was harder. I think nowadays when I move, I feel as if I can still be in touch to some degree. Like I didn't feel as bad moving from, Winnipeg to here, or when I went to California for a year, because I could still contact those people. It was a little different when I went from Alberta to Michigan for the first time. Facebook didn't exist. I guess you guys are going to tell that I'm kind of old.
You're showing your age now, babe. Okay. Well, thank you for being here with us and for sharing your story. The first question I have for you is to describe for us what moving was like for you as a child, and sort of what did you go through? How did that feel for you, moving as a child and sort of comparing it to moving as an adult?
So the first move that I do remember was from Ontario to Alberta. I remember being excited about the move. I was a bit sad, but definitely sad and excited. I didn't know what this new place was like, and I was looking forward to finding out what it was like. The other thing is, I ended up packing very quickly.
Okay.
At least that's how I saw it.
I
was about 6 or so.
So your 6-year-old self was like, I packed my room really well.
Yes. So how true all that was, that's for my parents to decide. But I thought I packed really quickly, and I actually enjoyed that. I specifically remember that I had packed things I really cared about, which were my Legos and my cars.
Yes.
And a few books that I really liked. And I remember putting those in a box, and I don't remember doing anything else.
So you packed your box. These are the important things that your 6-year-old self wanted.
Yeah. Yes. So I also had to pack my clothes. I remember putting those away, but I wasn't very excited about that. It was the Legos, the cars, and the books.
Got it.
And I felt that if I had those 3 things, I'm set.
You're good to go.
I'm
for
good
your
to
next
go.
place.
Yes. So So yeah, it was a bit of a lesson in terms of materialism, especially looking as when I got older and acquired more things. Going down to Michigan, I definitely had to leave things behind.
Yeah.
I could take a suitcase and a carry-on with me, and that was hard.
Yeah.
I repacked and packed and repacked, and that was kind of my first taste of the anxiety of acquiring things. And yeah, I think the more you end up acquiring, the harder it is to leave it behind, especially if you get attached to it.
Sure. Yeah. That sense of, attachment to things, that sense of this thing needs to be with me, and the feeling of not having it. I can understand how that would be challenging.
Yeah.
Especially if you've had to do it a few times.
Yes, although I feel more comfortable now. So I think that the one from Alberta to Michigan was probably the hardest. By that time I was in Michigan, I knew I was going to have to leave things behind.
Yes.
So I was mentally prepared for it.
Okay. So based on what you're saying, as a child, you were able to identify the main things that you wanted to move with, and that would make your move more comfortable. Your Legos, your cars, and your books. And as you got older and acquired even more things and got attached to more things, recognized that I can't take all these things that I got attached to. I sort of have to leave some things behind.
Yes.
And had to go through that sort of separation anxiety that comes with that.
Yes. Yeah, and I guess that also goes into my first question, about you. And have you experienced the same type of anxiety from any of the moves you've had to make?
I would say yes and no. So I've moved, I would say 3 major moves in my life.
Okay.
And as a child, the move I made, I think I was like 10 or something like that. I don't remember it very well.
Yeah.
The significance of that move was more moving from an urban city in Jamaica and then moving to a rural area in Jamaica. So that's how drastic it was.
Okay.
So the material things didn't really matter as much, because I guess it had more to do with, my mom basically made the decision of what was going to be taken versus what was going to be left. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. I just know probably that, some toys were taken, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember me having a say in what came and what didn't.
Which ones?
So
hopefully you didn't have to leave your equivalent of the Legos behind.
Oh, I don't remember. I know it's probably Barbies and my Cabbage Patch doll, and those were the things that were more important to me back then.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I would say the other 2 were a bit more drastic in that I moved countries. So I moved from Jamaica to Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
And that one, I experienced the separation anxiety for sure, because I had to travel on a plane. Yeah. And like you, there are a limited amount of, luggage that you can bring with you. So definitely had to leave some beloved things behind, and had to sort of think about what was essential. What are the things that I need? And clothes wasn't necessary. Actually, clothes was used as buffers for the more essential things. We packed plates, if you would think about it. We packed a sound system, I remember. So literally when we came, we did a big shop for clothes, because the clothes in Jamaica wouldn't have, prepared us for the snowstorm we came into that day.
Yeah.
That snowstorm is still in my memory.
I'm sure it was.
Yes. And the last move was moving from Ontario to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And that was later in life. I was more prepared, for that type of move. And the move I made was, I was thinking of going back. So it was a different type of move in that in my mind, it wasn't permanent. So
okay.
I didn't feel like I had to pack all my essentials. I just didn't feel like I had to pack, feeling like I was separating myself from them.
Yes.
Because I knew they'd still be in Ontario when I went back to visit my parents.
Yes.
So it was a little different for me.
That's sort of how I felt about when I went from Winnipeg down to California for a year. I knew it was going to be a short-term type of thing, but it also, I was a bit unprepared for it.
Yeah.
And I ended up traveling with, more than a carry-on, but a little more than a carry-on.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't take me more than a couple days to be fine with what I had. I had enough clothes for a week, so I guess I had to wash them often. But I had my cameras, and I realized that as long as I had a laptop, some clothes to wear, and my cameras,
you were good.
I was good.
Man, living that minimalistic life. I don't know if I could do it.
I was forced into it a little bit there, and I definitely felt uncomfortable at first, but once I got started, and I think it was also the fact that I had work to do.
Sure.
And once I started working, I stopped thinking about all the stuff I wish I had.
Yeah.
And so it was just back there. It wasn't until maybe almost a month in before I actually ended up buying a few more clothes just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Makes sense. Yeah. But it sounds like you were, content with what you had and you were able to make it work. And it sounds like, sometimes when you're in a situation and you think you need all this stuff, when you're placed sort of in the position where you can only have what you have, then you make it work. And, it seems like you don't really need all the things that you think you need.
Yes, and it made things a lot easier because everything fit in the trunk of my car. That was.
Well, you had your car too, so that sounds like.
Oh well,
yes.
Good. The late. We won't go into that. That was a rough transition. I miss my car.
Yes. Maybe a different episode, guys. If you would like to hear about the death of Jingle Bells. Jingle Bells is my husband's beloved car.
Yes.
If you would like to hear more about Jingle Bells and the dearly departed Jingle Bells, please comment below and let us know if you'd like to hear more about that.
It'd be hard to talk about it.
I'll have some tissues, don't worry.
All right.
Okay. Any final words that you want to share with us? What are you up to now? And what are some things that we can put in the description box to be able to find you?
Oh, wow. Well, I got my website. That will hopefully be in the description below.
And please tell us if you want Basil to share some more with us and some of the questions you might have for him. And please share your comments below about this video, and let us know some other things that you'd like us to talk about. Until next time, take care.